So, as I mentioned yesterday, this next statement, first of all, we have to appreciate and understand that the states of meditation referred to in this statement as the faultless meditative concentrations. They are very advanced states of mind. And even in the context of training in Mahamudra, you have to kind of go through these states. But here, Jigten Sumgon is warning us that even if you have these experiences of joy or bliss that arises, and that joy or bliss, it's also mentioned, for example, in the mindfulness of breathing, the 16 stages. It talks about piti, sukha arising, then piti arising. So these are various states of well-being and joy and happiness. And already, in the Mindfulness of Breathing Sutra, the Buddha pointed out that these are advanced but nonetheless preliminary states of mind that you have to actually, after experiencing, right, in the 16 stages, after experiencing that joy and rapture, you actually calm them down. You actually want to come back from that and not be lost in this joy and rapture or happiness, because that's not really the goal. Those are on the one hand things that naturally turn up as you refine your body and mind, and then as they naturally turn up, if you know how to relate to them, they become supports for deepening the refining, for intensifying, for deepening the refining of your mind. So the next here, the second one is called clarity. So then even when the mind becomes really clear, really bright, feeling like, oh, now I will never be fooled again. I'm seeing so clearly, even that should not think, oh, I must be Buddha now. Then the next samadhi is non-thought. Thought has become imperceptible. It seems like, not even thoughts of joy or feelings of joy or feelings of thought of, oh, this is very clear. All that also subside. But again, even that, you should not think, oh, I must be in nirvana now. Because at best, these are the height of each of the three planes of existence. The Kama Loka, the Rupa Loka, the Arupya Loka. Kama Loka, the realm of the senses. When you refine the realm of the senses, so to say, your mind, meaning refining your mind, and therefore you are born in, right? We say, whether you're born in the lowest place in the Kama Loka, which is the hell realms. So the hell realms is when the mind is completely under the power, totally, completely under the power of afflictive emotions, especially anger, hatred, resentment, that quality of mind. Then we say, now rebirth in the hell realms. And if the dominant is not anger, resentment, but more, desire, attachment, then that's the Preta realm of hungry spirits. So as the mind becomes more refined, less, it's possible to be born in the highest place in the Kamaloka, which is at the top of the first 6 levels of the devas, of the worldly gods. So at the height of that is when, it's so nice, it's so pleasant, it's so joyful, it's so blissful. Everything feels so right, everything feels so good, everything feels so proper, everything is just perfect. But that is only the height of the Kamaloka. Now you're developing your mind so that your mind is not even interested in this kind of joy anymore, but rather clarity. So then in the Rupa Loka, the Loka, the world of forms, here meaning really subtle forms, the mind becomes more and more refined, and then clarity is the dominant quality. And there are 16 of these Rupa Loka sub-realms, you could say, where the mind becomes more and more. And that at the height of that, at the top of that, is this state of clarity. Not yet. It's only the height of the Rupa Loka. Then the third, Arupya Loka, literally formless Loka, formless world, where even form, even subtle form don't exist anymore. And there, increasing states of no mental, emotional activity that can be detected on any gross level. So much so that you can experience non-thought. But that is still the height, the best place, but nonetheless still within the Arupya Loka. So here, Jigten Sumgon's statement is saying that even though you might experience very advanced states in meditation, don't be fooled by them. So we look at Khenpo Kunpal's commentary, 519. The meditative concentrations to be practiced are the meditative concentration of bliss or joy that is like an ocean, where even if the body is cut by a sword, it will become the nature of bliss, and one does not fall into attachment. The meditative concentration of clarity that is like the moon shining into an empty house, in which there is an experience of clarity with no difference between inside and outside of the body or between day and night, and one does not fall into grasping at that. And third, the meditative concentration of non-conceptuality, which is without even a subtle movement of thoughts, where there is an experience of non-conceptuality and one does not fall into mental fabrication. So these are not at all, easy states of mind. Takes a lot of focus practice, probably the kind of focus practice that none of us in this group have been able to achieve. So don't get so proud, thinking, I'm beyond these. We're just reading about it. Thus, these are the 3 faultless meditative concentrations. So first he explains, he says, so these are what we normally call faultless. We actually call faultless. But Jigten Sumgon says, actually there are faults. Even what is called faultless. For they are the cause of the 3 realms of samsara. the desire realm, the Kama Loka, the form realm, the Rupa Loka, and the formless realm, Arupya Loka, respectively. One will only go astray in those, and they are not the Great Seal, they are not Mahamudra, which is free from elaboration and beyond the intellect. It is said, those who meditate with delusion attain delusion due to the delusion. And so even if we cultivate our mind, which is what meditate here means, if we cultivate it based on delusion, based on ignorance, it will still bring results, but those results are tainted by confusion or delusion. And so if you train your mind to be very focused, right? Very focused, absolute concentration, no straying, but you have no understanding that the mind is ultimately insubstantial. Then, yes, you will have a very powerful, concentrated mind, but stuck, very rigid, stuck and trapped in this concentration. So it doesn't lead to freedom. Yeah, so you will go astray, if you cultivate your mind with delusion, then you will attain delusion. Hamudrupa said, there is no need for meditations where clear light without grasping does not arise. And where there are other mindsets of clinging to experience of bliss and clarity, because these are the causes for birth as a god of the formless realms. Therefore, like smoke arises as a sign of fire, these three experiences often arise for beginners. He's not talking about you and me type of beginners. He's talking about, those who are doing intense meditation. Beginners of that kind. Just as, I discovered, when somebody says, oh, I'm an amateur gardener. Oh, they don't mean amateur the way I think amateur means. Amateur means, they have devoted their whole lives to. It just means that they are not making money. So amateur in the sense of opposite of professional gardener. Professional garden designer as opposed to amateur garden designer. So here, amateur beginner meditators are talking about, very advanced compared to us, Thus, by meditating without concerns about faults and qualities, these experiences will be purified. So without concern about faults and qualities, it doesn't mean that you cultivate blindly. It means, you're not discouraged when faults arise and think, oh, this is bad, this is bad. And you are not excited when quality seems to arise and think, oh, I'm there. Stable mind is always important. Equanimity. The mind in equipoise. Finally, the direct realization of wisdom beyond the mind, free from all elaborations, arises, and that is Mahamudra. The reasoning is stated by Master Kotalipa. Rest the weary guests of the mind in freedom from elaboration. This present, primordial, natural state, beyond the intellect, is Mahamudra. Yeah, so the point of 519 is that Mahamudra may have some of these qualities, which is bliss, clarity, and non-conceptual thoughts, experience of non-conceptuality, but they are not themselves yet, these experiences. are not themselves yet. The bliss, clarity, and emptiness that is often associated with the way Mahamudra talks about the nature of mind. Actually, Mahamudra instruction says it's blissful, it's clear, and then it's empty, which corresponds with, structurally corresponds with these three samadhis. So here in the larger commentary, it says, this statement is made in response to those who says that definitely these three faultless samadhis, they are the cause for the attainment of the three kayas. But here, again, Jigten Sumgon says, no. So to say more, in one of the earliest commentaries, Dorje he says, people hold that one obtains Dharmakaya through non-thought, Sambhogakaya through bliss, and Nirmanakaya through clarity or luminosity, and through the practice of these three samadhis. Which then, accordingly, the samadhi of bliss is like an ocean and a sword that strikes the body. The samadhi of clarity is like a moon rising in an empty house. And the samadhi of non-thought is when is even the most subtle thought. So here Professor Zobish says, it is generally accepted that attachment to these experiences caused the yogi to be born within the realms of desire, form, and formlessness. Jigten Sumgon, however, maintains that even the unattached experience of bliss, luminosity, and non-thought is only a seed of samsara and does not lead to the attainment of Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddhahood, let alone Buddhahood. So kind of unique emphasis here. Might even kind of shock others. Even others who teach Mahamudra might look at this and say, what do you mean? So let's continue a little bit. According to Jigten Sumgon, Buddhahood is the result of what we can consider as chiefly a process of removal or purification, clearing, removing. It is in particular a purification of attachment and mental fabrication, which then result in the freedom from proliferation. But it is not the result of a mere absence of attachment and mental fabrication. So it is the result of the clearing of attachment and mental fabrication that leads to freedom from proliferation. But it is not the result of a mere absence of attachment and mental fabrication. Buddhahood is therefore not a quality obtained through merely experiencing bliss, clarity, and non-conceptuality, with or without attachment and mental fabrication. These three experiences are just advanced states of samadhi that still require further refinement. Ultimately, it is their purification that brings about realization. This, according to Pamodrupa, is done by practicing the mind. Practice the realization of the mind as the Buddha. So Chodra summarizes, complete realization arises from the purification of these three experiences, but not from the experiences themselves. One must understand that realization attained through purified experience is very different from a realization that one first experiences and then loses again. So this is, some further kind of insight into what Jigten Sumgon was concerned about when he made this statement. So then, if you ask, so what's the difference between, attaining these states and further needing to purify or to clear or a process of removal, right? So what it's saying is that don't be, I think, at the core of what this is saying is, don't be distracted by experiences that arise, especially these positive experiences. And don't think, oh, this must be it. Yes.
Is it when one experiences these kinds of bliss, clarity, you, rather than getting caught up in the experience, you recognize that this is not the point, that it's there, but it's not, you need to not be concerned or attached to the fact that it's there.
Yes, that's one. But then the commentary says, even without attachment, it's still not it. Yeah.
You have to realize that even the wanting to not be attached is attachment.
No, it's saying, there are two ways of experiencing these three states. One with attachment, one without attachment. Know that you could say the second case is better than the first case. First case has attachment and grasping, second case doesn't. But even in the second case where there is no attachment, which is better than the first case, that is still not it. That's what it's saying.
So you really can't explain it.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. You cannot explain this it. and the point about why this is about purification, I think it's sort of a shift in attitude. Yeah, I think this is really talking about a shift in attitude. If your attitude is, I'm going to gain, I'm going to gain, I'm going to gain. I'm going to gain bliss. I'm going to gain no thought. I'm going to gain clarity. He says, you'll be led astray. But if you understand it in terms of, I'm going to sweep away mental defilements, I'm going to sweep away clinging, I'm going to sweep away self-cherishing, I'm going to sweep away, right? Then, he says, then you'll come face to face with it. Do it that way. So even though this statement is probably addressed to people, not probably, definitely addressed to, the context of people who are experiencing these states, for those of us who are not yet directly experiencing these states with or without attachment, I think then, like I like to use the phrase, what is our take-home lesson? I think our take-home lesson is that rather than basing your practice on chasing this attainment, this attainment, this attainment, this attainment, you should carry out your practice based more on clearing the mental defilements, clearing the afflictive emotions, clearing self-grasping, clearing attachment, clearing aversion, clearing the three poisons, being done with the 8 winds of worldly concerns. That is a better way.
So if you're practicing that is what may or may not result in these experiences, but you still are focused on getting rid of them or clearing clearing them, purifying them, not
No, clearing, not them. Clearing them off. Clearing them off.
out of the way.
To be clear. Clearing them off what needs to be cleared. Don't think too much. It's not an area to be thought about. Just remember the take-home lesson that is relevant to where you and I are. Don't base your practice on, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Base your practice on, I want to clear this, I want to clear that. I should clear this, I should clear that. What are you clearing here? No, we're not talking about clearing, like meaning getting rid of bliss, getting rid of clarity, getting rid of non-conceptual experiences. We're not talking about that. Here it's saying, yes, these things will come. You may have even tasted some of it, but your main practice is not about, let me cultivate these three and turn them into the three kayas. Instead, when I clear the three poisons, the three kayas will manifest.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, because certainly I had not realized that part of it.
Right. Yeah, all of us, tend to, ooh, I want that, right? Anyway, now 520 is closely related. Although the commentary here is very short, but let's look at 520, closely related here. So 520 says, each of the three kayas are also the embodiment of all three. It is a fact that all the inner, outer, and other aspects exist timelessly with a nature of the three kayas. Therefore, if we take the example of the nature of mind, its empty essence is the Dharmakaya, its unceasing radiance of that is the Sambhogakaya, and the various expressions of the awareness have the nature of the Nirmanakaya. Likewise, in each of the three kayas, the other two are also present, because the indivisible three kayas have the nature of great bliss. Now here, you see in this commentary how the empty essence is Dharmakaya. So there's vocabulary that is very similar to the three faultless samadhis. Non-conceptuality is this emptiness, which people link with the Dharmakaya. Unceasing radiance of the mind is the Sambhogakaya. This is talking about the bliss part. And the various expressions of the awareness have the nature of the Nirmanakaya. This is the clarity part. So definitely in the Mahamudra state, in the fruition Mahamudra, you have qualities of mind that is very similar to the three faultless samadhis. But the three in the fruition Mahamudra state is not the same as the three samadhis. Yeah. So that's one point in 520. Main point in 520 is talking about the three kayas. So from the three faultless samadhis, now the statement is about the three kayas. So So this statement was said in response to what? In response to those who say the Nirmanakaya and the Sambhogakaya and so on at the 24 places and so on are explained to be the three different kayas. Again, those who say that they are distinct. Dharmakaya is one thing, Sambhogakaya is one thing, Nirmanakaya is one thing. And sometimes we also think like that, because this is based on misunderstanding, when we say, oh, you have to cultivate this in order for Dharmakaya to be attained. You have to cultivate this in order for Sambhogakaya to be attained. You have to cultivate this in order for Nirmanakaya to be attained. Especially in many Vajrayana sadhanas, you'll see that correspondence being made. And that can lead to this thinking that, oh, so if I only practice this and not this other two, I will only have Nirmanakaya. I will only achieve the Nirmanakaya. I won't achieve the Sambhogakaya. I won't achieve the Dharmakaya. Here, basically, Jigten Sumgon say, not possible. If it is really Nirmanakaya, once you have the ability to manifest Nirmanakaya, of course you have already achieved Sambhogakaya and Dharmakaya. Once you have achieved Dharmakaya, of course you have, you have the power to manifest Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. So each of the kayas, whichever dimension of being, in other words, of a Buddha, all the other dimensions are present.
So it's a matter of emphasis?
Emphasis of what? And what is a matter of emphasis?
The state that you are in or feel you are in is sort of where you are, where you're practicing, what you're practicing.
No, this is talking about the fruit, the result of the three kayas. Yeah. And this is talking about the result of the three kayas. So in that sense, even harder for us to really grasp. But again, for me, the take-home lesson here is don't take too literally, in the sadhanas and in the explanation of the sadhanas. Because we say, for example, when you start Om Swabhava Shuddha Savadhamma Swabhava Shuddho Hang, within the state of emptiness, or then you rest in state of emptiness, then they say, by cultivating that, you will achieve Dharmakaya. Then the commentary, the instructions say, after from within emptiness, it says, appears a bum syllable that turns into a lotus. Upon the lotus is an A syllable that turns into a moon disk. Upon the moon disk is a Vajra. Within the Vajra is a Hung syllable. And then the instructions say, by cultivating these symbols, the symbol of a lotus, moon, Vajra, syllable, you will achieve Sambhogakaya. Light goes out, light comes back. Light goes out, relieving suffering of sentient beings. The light comes back. Light goes out, making offerings, gathering merit through making offerings to Buddhas. Light comes back. Instantaneously, this Vajra with the Hung syllable turns into this or that idam. And they say, by cultivating that, you achieve Nirmanakaya. right? Generally. But don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, so if I just do Om Swabhava Shuddha Savadhamma Swabhava Shuddhaham, I may accidentally attain Dharmakaya and then be short of Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya and say, oh, I'm now Dharmakaya Buddha, but I'm not doing anyone any good because my Sambhogakayas and Nirmanakayas weren't cultivated. Or, you like so much, appearing in the form of deity, of a Buddha. Oops, now I am a Nirmanakaya, but I don't have Sambhogakaya. Then it's not a Nirmanakaya, it's something else. As in the first case, it's not a Dharmakaya, it's something else that you attained. Maybe the non-conceptuality of the faultless samadhi, where no access to the bliss and the clarity part. They're limited. Okay, so today we're gonna stop here and a little early. Then stay tuned, okay, for when we'll meet next. I'm not sure because I will soon be traveling. But stay tuned. And it is possible, actually, that we could meet on Monday. So stay tuned on Sunday. Don't be shy to ask me if I forget to say one way or the other. You'll know how to contact me. Definitely tomorrow we won't meet, but possibly Monday, possibly Tuesday. I have to see, where I am at and how feasible it is to have class or not. So anyway, you'll have a good rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Try to take Dharma to heart. If what I say is helpful, take that to heart. But focus should be on your own process. Your own process. Make sure your Dharma practice is based on yourself being convinced that it's helping you. We say, don't count other people's cows. If you're a farmer and you're always looking over there and counting other people's cows, you're not going to get milk that way. Likewise, don't focus on other people's shortcomings. Then, our Dharma practice can have unshakable foundations, which is our own conviction. So not to be shaken by what other people do or don't do. So now, dedication. Sublime, precious, venerable, and glorious root and lineage gurus, assembly of Idam deities, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions, and all assemblies of Viras, Viranis, Yoginis, and Dakinis, please heed me. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the inherent root of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly dharmas, the 4 causes of samsara, and the resultant states of hearers and solitary realizers, and may all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, particularly those enemies who hate us, obstructors who harm and those who create obstacles, Maras who mislead and their Mara retinues, have happiness, be separated from suffering, and quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, and precious Bodhi. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may we benefit sentient beings with body, speech, and mind. May the afflictive thoughts of attachment, aversion, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind stream. May thoughts of name, fame, gain, respect, and so forth in this life not arise for even a moment. With my mind stream moistened by love, compassion, and bodhicitta, may I come under the care of virtuous spiritual friends, and having become as limitless as space, may I achieve the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Okay, tata, everyone.